Hello, Vibers, and welcome to the Vibe with Kai podcast. It's your boy Kai, and I am super excited to be sitting here with TikTok star, TikTok sensation. Don't deny it. There's no denying this. JC, aka See You Later, which is great,
Hi,
which is
everybody.
fantastic. JC has become one of the most watched content creators on all the app. I'm hyping you up, by the way, so don't deny any of this. So you're just gonna have
I'm
to
just gonna
like
be
take it.
beat red in any like a video thing that you're
You're
gonna
just gonna have
show,
to
so
take
that's
this.
fine.
She's become one of the most watched content creators on all of TikTok as she documents her life living on a boat, which is amazing, and entertaining the masses with a very popular video series entitled Hell's Bells, which is fascinating, which I love. And she also has a new comic book short coming out soon with the Goblin Grin, which we're going to talk about later as well. And you're just like an artiste overall. Like you have your hands like a lot of different buckets here, which is super exciting, which we'll talk about. So I'm super excited to have my new friend, JC, here on the podcast. JC, how are you?
I am doing all right. It's nice and sunny here, so I'm just
Yeah,
happy vibing out on the water on the boat.
nice.
Where we just took it back out of the water,
Yeah.
did some work on the underside, and put it back in. Nothing too catastrophic or expensive happened. So
Have you found all the leaks yet? Have you found the
no,
source of all the leaks? Because that I'm fast. I need to know. I'm
I
so
know where
emotionally invested in
most of
these
them
leaks
are.
now.
I know where most of them are.
Yeah.
There's a couple that I cannot for the life of me hunt down. I've owned this boat
Oh
for
my
almost
gosh.
6 years,
Yeah.
and I've been trying to track them down for years, and I cannot do it. And some of them it's like I know where they are, but I have to like
Right.
replace entire windows to fix them, and windows are like $350 a pop, and I have 8 of
Oh
them.
my
So it's like
gosh.
I'm just gonna like stick paper towels there and not put anything I want to get wet
Yes.
anywhere near that drip. So it'll
I
be fine.
I saw you. I saw one of your videos. You were saying you lost one of your favorite books because of one of the
Yeah.
leaks that came through. Like it just happened to be sitting right on a spot where a leak,
Yeah.
went through, and like that must have been just like heartbreaking,
Oh, I was
to
so
like
mad.
lose
I'd been
that.
gone for the weekend and I came
Yeah.
back and I heard kind of a plop in the aft cabin. And
Mhm.
I just went, oh no. And I
Oh
went back and I saw the water around it. And then I saw the water on top of it. And I realized the
yeah.
book was all puffed up. And I was just like, not are you kidding?
Oh my
So I had
gosh.
to was like, how much do I want to deal with this right now? And
Right.
the answer was not very because it was kind of late at night.
Yeah.
It's like I'll just rip the whole back end of the boat apart tomorrow in the morning once I've had coffee, and it will be
Oh.
strong coffee at that point.
Add a little extra love into that coffee there that morning.
Yeah,
Oh
sat and
my
drank it
goodness.
for in silence for a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like, all right, this is I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to
Right.
do it.
So let's talk about this. You live on a boat. You literally
Yeah,
live on a boat, and you document your entire experience and
full
journey with
time.
this. Like that's like your thing. Like that's fascinating. So for I'm sure there's some people that obviously that know who you are, but for some of the people that are listening that are like, who is this person? Why are they living on a boat? Can you explain why how this came to be and what it's like living on a boat for you?
Well, it came to be, I mean, in part because my dad was a lifelong sailor. That's how my parents met, was on a sailboat in Hawaii when their story is hysterical and long and weird. But they met and married and had me.
Mhm.
And they sailed from Hawaii to Oregon with me when I was 13 months old. So I learned to walk in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Wow.
So I've spent most of my life on and around boats. And I spent summers when I was a little kid cruising on the sailboat. My dad had a 42 footer. So all 5 of us would squeeze onto that boat and we'd spend 2-3 months just cruising around the San Juan Islands and going up into Canada. So I've spent my life around it and it really spoke to me. I mean, and my name is spelled Jaysea because of my sailor dad. So
Yeah.
like the writing has been on the wall from the very beginning. And I always loved it and kind of was like, oh, I'd love to live on a boat someday, sail around the world,
Yeah.
do all this stuff. And I just never thought it was going to happen. But when I graduated college, my dad teaches maritime licensing, and one of his students was saying, "Well, I'm going to sell my boat. I mean, I'll give it to you for like $3,000." So we went down and looked at it. It was super janky. It's like the engine was like a big block of rust. And my mom, bless her, pitched such a hissy fit. She's like, I can't believe you're even trying to talk yourself into this. This is stupid. I'm just going to sit on deck and just not even look at the stupid thing. So my dad and I are trying to talk ourselves into falling in love with this stupid boat. And my mom's sitting up there in the pouring down rain, refusing to even look down below. So she starts talking to the guy on the boat next to us. And he's like, well, the boat on the other side of me is for sale. the boat that I'm sitting on now. So
Wow.
I ended up talking about, so thanks mom for having a hissy fit and refusing to look at that terrible
It all
boat. This
came into
one's much
play.
better.
It was all part of the
Yes.
journey.
And then I
That's
bought the boat.
fascinating.
I got a really good deal on it because it had been sitting abandoned for a very long time, I think like 7 years. And it's a really solid boat. She's a Swedish boat, and they're like, it should be really expensive, but it was in such rough shape that it was pretty much a gut rebuild. Like the engine still worked, but we had to do like a partial rebuild on that, and the transmission, I'm pretty sure, knocking on wood, is still good, but it's like we had to rewire it, we had to do all new electronics, we had to do the water system, we had to do like the fuel, we had to redo like pretty much everything, we had to repaint it, put new zincs on it, replace the prop, put new canvas, everything we had to
And
do.
you poured like everything you had into
Every
this. I
single
remember
thing.
I remember watching a video where you were saying that like you were saving up your money, you were working various jobs and you were saving up your money. And you, when it came time to actually purchase this boat, you legit just like, you're like, here we go. This is all I got. And you had a little bit left, you know, to do, you know, various things around the boat, but you were like, hey, I'm literally going all in with everything that I have to make this happen.
Was very much a labor of love. And I figured, you know, on the one hand, financially, it was an absolutely dumbest thing I could have possibly done. But on the other hand, it was like, hey, if you can live on a boat, rent is reasonably cheap if you can find a place to put it. So it's like, once I got it all built up, then, you know, things should be, if I was smart with my money, be more or less stable, so I could work jobs that I would enjoy more, but that wouldn't have, you know, pay super well. But I worked in a sales job that I didn't really love for a long time, but everything I was like, pay off the boat, do little things. And then just as I paid off the boat and paid the last payment, 2 months later, COVID hit and I had to leave my job, which I'd been planning to do anyway, because my bosses were kind of abusive. But I was like, well, I'm going to take it and run now. And then it was like, now what?
You're like, it's now or never. It's like, it has to happen now. Like, it's just, that's fascinating. And so COVID comes, you're on this boat full time. And I believe you were saying that, while living on the boat, there's not a lot of places that allow you to actually like you can park the boat there, but for those places that don't allow you to actually stay there. So you found a place that would actually allow you to park your boat there and let you live there full time, right?
It took 2 years. I applied to be in this marina that I'm at now as a live aboard 2 years before they let me. They gave me the call, and they gave me the call in October, I think, of 2019, which would have been fine. But I lived on the Oregon coast, and trying to go up the Washington coast in October and crossing the Columbia River Bar is suicide, especially in a small boat. So it was like, well, now I'm paying double rent for the slip that I was in then, plus the slip that I was needed up in Washington. And then once Corona hit, it was like, well, now we can't really haul the boat. So we had to postpone it for a year. So I double paid for a long time.
Are there other liverboards like in your area as well?
There's a couple. There's kind of two schools of liveaboards, and I'm of a very weird group where I'm a year-rounder. Like, this is my house. I don't have a house to go retreat to. Most people who have boats, especially up where I am, they're older, or they're couples, or they're, you know, in their 40s, I mean, or they're old. So they have like a house that they winter in, which would be very comfortable. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm one of the people, it's like, I have nothing else other than my car. So this is home, and I have to commit to it. But there's a couple, and it's summer now, so a lot of the cruisers are coming and getting geared up, so people are going to live on their boats, but they'll be out going during the summer. So
you know, it's funny because boats don't scare me. Like, I'm good with boats, like I'm cool with boats, but you know what does scare me? The open water, open
ocean.
Yes, I can't do it. Like, if I'm like in the middle, like, even if it's not even just like an ocean, if it's like a big lake and I'm in the middle of the lake, like, my anxiety goes through the roof. And I mean, cannot breathe.
You're talking to the kid who, in the swimming pool, I was terrified of the vent at the bottom of the swimming pool. I was like, something will come out of it. I cannot. It's like, I don't want to drown in a chlorine pool. But it's like, if I'm on the boat, especially when it's your boat and it's everything, and it's just you, and like my dad and I have delivered it a couple of places and moved it. It's like, oh, it's just us out here. Like, if something breaks, we figure this shit out. Like, that's all on you. You don't call AAA. So that's when I've been tuning all my skills up to go single handing someday. It's like, there's that mental hurdle of like, you have to trust yourself and know
Sure.
that you can figure something out. You know your boat well enough, you know your
Right.
options are. I mean, always have a backup plan. So
Sure.
that's
Have
where
there
anxiety can be useful.
Oh, sure, yeah. So I always said, like even when I was in college back in the day, way back in the day when I was in college, I worked better under pressure. So like I would
Yeah.
always wait till the last minute to like write a paper because I'm like the papers that I wrote like a week ahead of time, they were never good.
Oh no,
They were
no,
never
rough
good.
draft. I never believed in a rough draft. It's like I think it was
Yeah.
like a Tumblr post way back in the day where it's like, you know, Ernest Hemingway, write drunk, edit sober. Me as the college student, write well, heavily like sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated at
Oh,
3 a.m. No editing, we die like men.
mhm.
Got me a degree.
You just described all 4 years of college for me.
Yes. I had a teacher who was like, you were required to do rough draft 1, rough draft 2,
No.
and an outline. And I was like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write the whole paper now. And I'm just gonna like rearrange paragraphs and make it worse and turn it in progressively. It's like I'm doing this whole assignment, but I'm doing it my way, by God.
You know what? You kids, if you're listening to this right now, stay in school and listen to us because we
In
got through and
school.
we're perfect. We're great now.
You don't have to be the top of the class. I promise you, it does not matter in the long run. C's get degrees was my motto for 2 years, and I almost dropped out my senior year of college, probably every other week. And I owe my mom several $1,000s in wine and therapy for keeping me in college.
Oh my God. I love it. You are me just on a boat. That's the only it's the only
Great minds
difference.
think alike. That's
Yeah,
what's
right.
going on here.
Have there ever been like any, I guess, particularly scary moments that stand out for you, like being on the boat, like whether it
Mm.
be weather or just like just a situation where you're like, shit. Like does
There's
anything stand out to you?
I mean, there's a couple when we brought the boat up the Washington coast last summer, almost a year ago today. I think we left on July 12th.
Mhm.
We had my uncle with me and he volunteered and he'd never been out on like the ocean before, but we like dosed him with seasickness meds and everything. So the Columbia River Bar, if you don't know, is one of the most dangerous pieces of water on the planet and it can kill you very quickly. And on
Mhm.
some days, you don't even know you've crossed the bar.
Oh
Other
wow.
days, it's like, here's 35-foot waves with a crosswind. So it was supposed to be
Wow.
smooth the day that we went out, but it was much choppier than it was supposed to be. It was like 15-foot seas, which I wasn't happy about.
Right.
But we got through it. My uncle, as soon as we hit the bar, violently seasick, completely incapacitated. So it was like, okay, well, he's not going to be any help standing watches. So it was me and my dad. Well, then I got seasick because I was really tired because I hadn't slept the night before. But I've been seasick enough to know that it's like I'll have my Ziploc baggie in one hand and the wheel in the other, and you just puke and work. Like this is it's like you just dig a little deeper, give up your pride, and you are here to do a job. So we got over the bar and it was supposed to smooth out in the ocean.
Yeah.
It was like being in a washing machine. I mean, it wasn't dangerous per se. I think it was like a
Right.
small craft advisory, and my dad's very experienced mariner and it's been
Mhm.
fine. But what was dangerous was my uncle was so wildly incapacitated that he started getting very dehydrated. He
Oh
started
wow.
hallucinating.
Oh
And it was
no.
like, I remember I was on watch and my dad's shoulder went out. So it was like he and I were the ones who were having to do this. And I was so sick. I was just like in the bag and everything. And it was nighttime. It was just sloppy. It was miserable. And my uncle reached over and grabbed my arm and he goes, "Are you and Tom still on the boat?" And I was like, if he starts walking off this boat, I don't know what I can do to stop him. So we tied him down. But I mean, so we got through it.
I like how you
We
just
turned
casually
the
said
corner.
that, by the way.
It was like,
You tied him down.
okay, we get through it. We'll deal with it. It was miserable. I've never been so miserable in my
Yeah.
life. Like we turned the corner into Nia Bay and it
Mhm.
was much calmer, like smooth right out. I felt a lot better. I had some ginger ale. He kind of perked up because we gave him some water. But it was like, okay, because he was like grabbing his bag and like
Oh my
making to,
gosh.
and he's like, "Can I get off this boat? I will do anything to get off this boat." And I'm like, you're not doing that in the middle of the ocean.
Oh
I am not.
no.
He hasn't talked to us since. I'm allegedly going to see him on the 4th of July. So
Oh my God. Wait, and how
we,
long
we
ago was
dropped
this?
him off. This was about a year ago.
A year ago. Oh my gosh.
Well, it was funny because they had shut tribal lands down for COVID again, and we didn't
Yeah.
know. But he was like, "I am getting off this boat if I have to swim to shore and get arrested to do it." So once we were in Nia Bay, it was completely safe. It was totally
Right.
fine. But we're like, okay, we'll do a drive-by. We'll drop you off at the dock, not technically tie up so we can't
Right.
get in trouble. He was throwing his bags before we were like within 10 feet. Bag made it. And I was
He's like, get me off this boat
he was
right
like, I
now.
will do whatever. He was a lawyer. So he's like, arrest me. It'll be on land. I don't care. So he
Oh
did.
my
And he
goodness.
texted us. He walked 2.5 miles to the tribal gate, and they picked him up and they were like, how did you get in here? And he just said, I got dropped off a boat. I will not tell you the name of the boat. I am leaving. I haven't talked to him since. So that was
Wow.
weather got dangerous and personnel got dangerous. And then I had some people try and break onto the boat a while ago, but I mean,
That
the
is
boat's really secure. So it was just like, I
right.
just called the cops and was like,
Right.
hi, this
Right.
is really stupid.
Yeah.
But
And that's just, and I know that you particularly don't show the outside of your boat, like in your
yeah,
TikTok, in your TikToks, because you don't want people to know, like you have
yeah.
over 1 million followers, and you don't obviously want people to know which boat it is specifically.
Which sucks because
Yeah,
I'm very proud of my boat. I
sure,
want to
sure,
show it. And I'm like,
sure.
this is my baby. And then it's
Yeah,
also like, I also don't want to like get stabbed in my sleep because I pissed
no,
someone off
that's
on
fair.
TikTok that one time.
That's fair. And I totally get that, because I've had two instances where
Mm.
people have showed up at my house,
Oh
because
no.
I used to tell people what exact town that I live in, and when with context clues, you could probably figure out like where in that town I
Yeah.
lived. So there was one person that I was expecting an Amazon delivery that day, and I had got a notification that I was being dropped off. So I heard a knock on my door, and I'm assuming that it was the Amazon delivery truck
Yeah.
driver dropping off.
As you would in that
Right.
situation.
I go open the door, and it's a woman holding the package that I was expecting, and they were like, hi, are you the Vibe with Kai? And I was like, yes. And they're like, hi, this package was outside of your building, and I saw your name on it, and I that's how I knew what apartment it was. So I wanted to know if maybe you wanted to hang out today. I was like, no, 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 no. That is not how this works.
I
That
don't,
has
oh
happened
my God.
twice. And that's when I'm like, you know what? I am not going to tell people. So now I'd say to people, I live right outside of Philadelphia, is what
Yeah.
what I say to people. And that's like a really large area to like, to say that I live, but like, I can't risk that. And I understand
Yeah.
why you would do the same thing. Like, that's just
I mean, I get
no.
twitchy having my PO box
Sure.
in my bio because I'm like,
Mhm.
there's only 2 marinas in town, and I'm sure
Mm,
that they could like. I mean, people have recognized me around town. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure that they'd know.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, gas is expensive enough that I can't move it to another town
Right.
right now,
Right.
like in good conscience.
Mhm.
But I'm also going to be sailing this summer, so I'm hoping that I'm
Right.
gone.
Right.
But I had someone really aggressively get in my DMs, and he's like, I am driving up to your town. Do you want to hang out today? And he
Oh my
messaged me like
God.
6 times on Instagram and tried to do like an audio call. And I was like, I wasn't even in the state at that point. I was just like, I was visiting someone down south, and I was like, I'm just gonna block you
Yeah.
on everything. And I just got
That
really
is
creeped out. But I
insane.
mean, it's so weird. Why do people it's the parasocial relationships.
Well, yeah.
It's the interest of like we put so much of ourselves out
Mhm.
there that they think they know us.
Right.
But it's
Right.
like,
And
I've never
it's very
seen you
flattering.
before.
It's like it is
Yes.
very flattering, because I've met so many really cool people that I do consider my friends,
Yes.
through these apps and all of that. But what people don't understand is that, yes, like people like you and I, we do put our life out there, but it's very curated, right?
Yes.
We put a lot out there, but we don't put everything out there, right?
No.
Like that would be a bad idea, right? But because we are so open with what we are feeling and what we're going through and things like that, a lot of people, to your point, do feel as though they know us like 100%.
Mhm.
So they do feel more, on their end, it does feel like we are their literal friend,
Yeah.
which is flattering. But like I always have to tell people, I'm like, you got to be careful, because like people like you and I are pretty genuine, right? But like there's a
Yeah.
lot of people out there that are content creators that are not,
Yeah.
and like that, people just
And
have to
even
be
though we
careful.
are genuine, it's like
Mhm.
we like have our own emotional
Yes.
lives and well-being that we have to take care of. So showing up
Mhm.
on our doorstep, like you've seen my face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen you before. And
Mm-hmm.
sure,
Yep.
if I ran into you in the store, I would love to have a little conversation with
Yes.
you. But like, if you're getting up in like, you don't see like my private moments either.
Yes.
It's like, you don't see the heartbreak and the
Mm-hmm.
processing and the trauma and everything that goes
Absolutely.
into being genuine.
Yes.
But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so it's my DMs are really a spread of people being really wonderful and genuine and
Mm-hmm.
saying thank you and having like true moments and sharing their
Yeah.
story. And then other people who will very lovingly, without realizing it, trauma dump.
Yes.
And it's like, I'll check my DMs in the morning and it's like, my baby got raped last night and I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for advice. Can you send them to hell? And I'm like, I haven't even put pants on yet.
Yes.
Like, and
It's like, good morning.
want to, it's like, I want to have these moments where it's
Yeah.
like, my dad raped me for 14 years and
Mm-hmm.
can you send him to hell? And it's like, my heart goes out to you and I'm
Yes.
so sorry, but like, I can't.
It's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It really is. Because I talk a lot about mental health on my platform. And because
Yeah.
earlier this year, I was diagnosed with high anxiety and severe depression.
Yeah.
And so like I've been publicly processing a lot of that. And
Yeah.
99% of the people that I tell that to, like everybody's been like great and supportive.
Yeah.
But because of that, like for you, people will like write me and be like, I have to remind them I'm not a therapist. I don't
Yeah.
have all of the answers. I really don't. I'm processing this out loud for my own therapeutic sake.
Yeah. This is for me first.
Yes.
It's you guys are all vestigial.
Right,
It's like
right.
this is my show for me and you're welcome
Yes.
to enjoy it.
Yes, exactly. And it's just really hard to hear some of these stories because it is heartbreaking sometimes. And I'm curious for you, are there a lot of, I guess, are there a lot of like women sailors out there, or like women
No.
that do what you do? I was curious if there's a lot of women that do this, and if not, like what is it like, being a woman in this kind of industry?
It can be really exhausting. I want to make very clear that I love what I do and I love my life and I love living on the boat and everything that comes with it. But there's some times where it's like, it just is very isolating and very tiring. Because I remember when I bought the boat and I had one of my relatives be like, oh, you're gonna have to be beating the boys off with a stick. It doesn't fly with guys when they're like, my daddy has a boat, and it's like, cool, I have a boat, the boat
Right.
is mine. It's like,
Right.
who's your daddy now? Like, that's not gonna
Right,
work.
right.
But also all of my friends get violently seasick driving through puddles, so it's like you don't have people down to the boat. I mean, the only
Yeah.
people who come down to the boat are like family.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's people who would love to share it with me, but I just don't
Mhm.
have them. But also being down on the boat, it's very odd because I'm young. Young people really usually don't have the money or the desire to get a loan for a
Mhm.
boat this big, this young. I recognize fully that it was really weird and a lot of luck and hard work, but it's also like I'm not going to be making friends out there going like, oh, you're 30 and you have a boat too, like let's share that communication. It's
Right.
like I make friends with older couples and they're like, oh, I have kids who are your age who like have been on the boat and enjoy it.
Mhm.
But also you don't get taken seriously because there's very much an old guard. It's very masculine dominated still. And there's a lot of guys that aren't like this, but there's a lot of guys that are, where it's like I was sitting out on deck the other day, in the sun reading a book, and someone stopped by and was like, is your husband home? I want to ask some
Wow.
questions about his boat. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, well, no husband, it's my boat. What can I do for you? And they're like, oh, so it's your family's boat. Is your dad around? And I was like,
Wow.
no, it's mine. I own it. What do you mean? I own the boat. It's mine. My name's on the title. What questions do you have? And I wasn't feeling like I wanted to answer the questions, but I was just like, I need to prove that I
Right.
know what I'm talking
And
about.
it shouldn't be that way. I mean,
No.
I don't. You obviously don't need me to tell you that. But like, it's like
It helps to hear it. Yeah.
It's fascinating because I think that there are a lot of men out there that just unknowingly just have this this antiquated ideology in which they continue to ask questions like that. Or it's just very hard for them to grasp the fact that like a woman, this is going to sound so weird saying this out loud, but like a woman can do that Like,
Can do, yeah.
like what?
Especially
How
if
did
they're
you
wearing
pull this
khaki
off?
shorts
You
and they have
rich?
white hair, they're gonna have
Right,
a lot of questions when I roll by and like cute shorts and a crop top carrying a power drill.
right,
I rewired my engine, guys. Like I know what I'm doing, so it's
right.
okay.
That's
But I mean,
crazy. Has it ever, do you feel as though you had to work any harder just to kind of get yourself in the situation because you are a woman, or do you feel that it's just like it's been, I guess, kind of after the fact that you had to deal with it, but like leading up to it, do you feel that you had to work harder to get in the position that you're in now?
not really, because my
Hmm.
dad is very, very supportive. He's worked
Yeah,
with me the whole time. It's been
yeah.
great. But like even when I was first learning how to handle the boat, and even now
Mm,
that I've like gotten a lot better at boat handling, if I'm taking the boat out of the slip, like my dad's the one who's handling lines.
right,
I'm the one who's driving the boat and I'm taking it out through the marina. People will be like, "Oh, careful, the girl's driving." And it's like, yeah, you better hope I'm driving. It's my boat.
right.
Like so it does feel like you have to be kind of twice as good. Like I get
Sure,
really
I
twitchy
get that.
whenever I make a misstep where it's like, oh, I missed catching a buoy coming in, when I'm out cruising. It's like I missed that mooring buoy, so now I feel stupid and everyone's like, well, of course she missed the buoy, she's the girl, like she doesn't
Mm,
know, like she's young.
right,
So I just feel it's a stupid thing of like I feel like I have to be perfect, so I beat myself up when I'm not.
right.
That's also just a personal failing that I've always had. But
Hmm.
especially when you're trying to quote break into kind of
Sure.
a male dominated thing where it's like
Yeah.
I want to be impressive and I want to be good, just like everyone does in every
Hmm.
aspect of their life, but it's like it almost feels like you have a point to prove, to be
Right.
like me, like, look girls, we can do it
Right.
too. But
Right.
I'm also now I'm kind of like, look girls, we can do it too, we're allowed to mess up.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's okay, we
Yeah.
have a learning curve, life
Right.
happens, it's
Right.
fine. So I have to remind myself, like talk to myself like I would talk to a friend
Right.
sometimes.
Right. Would you ever live anywhere other than a boat ever again?
I would, I'm not gonna lie, I would love to have a little house. Like
Hmm.
sometimes living on a boat, it's just exhausting. There's a lot of noises. You
Sure.
don't always sleep super well, especially in winter if there's a storm, even if you're tied up to the dock, because you're like,
Hmm.
is the boat riding differently in the slip? Did I pop a fender? Did I break a line? Did someone next to me break a line? Is my
Right.
halyard slapping? So your brain's always kind of listening in the background.
Hmm.
So it can be really restful, but it also can be desperately unrestful, especially if the build
Right.
pump goes off in the middle of the night. You got to remember to fill it up with water. I mean, there's like more steps to it than just living in a house. And
Right.
I'm enough of a princess that it's like I would like to have a house that doesn't move all the time.
Right.
So someday I would love to have just like a little house so I can have all my books and my art and
Yeah.
everything up. And it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, a shower
Right.
that I don't have to hold the faucet for would be
Right.
great.
Right.
But I mean, for now, it's what it is and what I can afford. And I really do
Hmm.
enjoy it. But wintertime, I do get kind of salty when it's like, great, now I've got a 7-minute walk up to my car and it's raining sideways.
Oh my gosh.
It's character building.
Right. And when you write your book, which I know you're going to write one day, this is all stuff that's going to like, it's good. There's going to be a good chapter in there from all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about TikTok, because you have been documenting like this entire experience, and you've grown a following. You have well over 1 million followers now, your followers, like, they follow you, they love you, and they consistently support you. It is amazing. What is it like having that platform now, like to know that you have a group of people that just wholeheartedly and genuinely support you and what you do and the work that you put out there?
It's on the one hand, it's like, fairy money. It's like it doesn't really
Hmm.
exist because
Yeah.
it's 1.4 mil. That's such a big number to wrap
Yeah.
my head around. But on the other hand, it's like it's really nice to have this community of people where it's like I can talk about my stuff and it doesn't get immediately shot down like the
Hmm.
culture in which I grew up in, which was
Right.
a very toxic church. So it was like, oh, it's actual support and it feels more like a community and things can be talked about and I can say these opinions and I don't immediately get nailed for it.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's kind of terrifying to think about like the county that I grew up in only had 30,000 people in it.
Right.
So I'm talking to a lot more than just
Yes.
everybody in my county. That's my small town math. It's like, what can I relate this to? My
Right.
county. That's fine. But I mean, trying to
Puts
wrap
into
my head around
perspective.
that, it's
Yeah.
insane.
It's crazy. It's really crazy because did you ever think that
No,
you would ever have this ever?
no. When I first got on TikTok, it was because when I was working the sales job, my assistant, she was like, you should download TikTok because it's really slow. Like, I feel like you'd like it. You know, you're just back in your office all the time, killing time. Like, I think you'd like TikTok. So I downloaded it and started messing around, making really like the dumbest TikToks you possibly could, as we all do when we first get on TikTok.
Absolutely.
And then it was like, oh, well, I'll just start messing around. And I think the one that really started blowing up was the, gardening, big shovel gardening. It was like, oh, we had a miscommunication about big shovel gardening versus small shovel gardening. I thought we were taking care of your ex instead of, planting the fuchsias you bought at the store. So that was weird. And it was like 100,000 people think I'm interesting. What is this? And then it just kept going. And it was like, I was like, did it mostly for me because it was so fun. I've always loved being creative and getting to create. And it was like, oh, this is a different storytelling medium. And then Hell's Bells started because I was working in retail at the time and filled with the wrath of anyone who's worked in retail ever. Especially during the holidays. And I was just like, here we go. And then it kept growing and I could not believe it.
That's insane. And it's amazing how many people just from all over the world know you, because I was looking at my phone because I had texted my girlfriend earlier today and she was like, hey, what are you doing today? I'm like, oh, we're doing a podcast. I'm doing a podcast today, prepping for that. And she's like, oh, who are you interviewing today? And I'm like, oh, do you know See You Later? She's on TikTok. She like blah, blah, blah. She's like, I know who that is. And I'm like, wait, really? She's like, yes, I guess you and her are mutuals actually on TikTok. She is one of the 666 people that you follow.
What's her username?
Her username is not Jennifer Garner.
Oh my God, you're okay. I followed her forever. I love her.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. So yeah, I was texting. She's and literally, I'm looking at it right now in capital letters. She said, "Wow, wait, I know JC. We're mutuals. I adore her."
I'm about to fall off my bench right now.
No, she loves you. So like she had no idea that I was interviewing. I just kind of casual, like, yeah, I'm interviewing, See You Later, blah, blah, blah. She's like, what?
It's so funny great that so many people know me, but my family doesn't know what I do. Like my immediate family knows none of it. They know of it. None of them watch it. My brothers think TikTok is stupid. My mom doesn't like that I swear, so she refuses to watch it ever. And my dad is like, I tried watching one episode, but you made like a sexual joke, and I don't like knowing that you know what that is. So I'm proud of you, but I'm gonna leave it. So like no one in my extended family knows. So when I roll up to the family gathering on Monday, it's like, I'm just going to like zip my lip. Like, oh, what are you doing for work? I write comic books.
That period. Like, legit. Like whenever cause my mom and my dad and my sister know what happens, like what I do on TikTok. But like nobody else in my family really does, like, nor do they care. So it's also very humbling. When it gets like a family function and like they just have no idea, but like they will say every now and then, they'll be like, one of my friends, I don't know how you know them, but they sent me one of your TikToks. I'm like, well, I probably don't know them, but I'm going to assume that they probably know me. And they're like, why? I'm like, it's a long story. Let
me tell you how many followers I have. I don't want to tell you because it sounds like I'm bragging, but I don't know everybody. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they don't really understand, because like in their brain, they're on like Facebook like ideology, where it's like
you're friends with everybody. Yes, absolutely. It's like it's only 200 people. It's totally fine. I'm like, no.
It's like, no, that's not how it works. And you have this series Hell's Bells, which is like so popular. How did that even like start? How did it come to be? And you post a new like episode of this pretty much every day.
Every day but Sunday,
yeah.
Unless something bad happens.
Right. So like what is that like? Like how did this even start?
I think it was a combination of the fact that I was working in retail during the holidays, during COVID, in a fabric store where I thought little old ladies were nice. I really, really, really did. I don't know why I thought it was going to be like, we're all going to like hold hands and talk about knitting, but it's not. I had Snickers bars thrown at me. It was really weird. So it was a little bit of like the retail salt merging with the religious trauma. I think it was one lady, told me again, it was, you're going to go to hell and everything, which I've been told quite often in my life
Right.
because I was a kid who asked too many questions and I was just rambunctious. Hi, kitty.
Yeah, it's my cat. He gets very needy. So I'm like, I'm just gonna hold him for now. I know you're a
Oh, I'll
cat
be
person
doing
too.
design meetings with Goblin Grim, and he'll have like one cat like sitting right under the monitor where it's like I just see like the top his eyes over Zelda's
Yeah.
head, and I'm just like, hi everybody. What were we talking about? Okay, how Hell's Bells happen. I think it was
Yes.
just someone told me to go to hell, and it was a combination of like, I want to tell you, it's like I'm gonna take this power back. And then as I kept doing it, I was like, well, these are characters and
Yeah.
there's a story here. And then it was like, oh, this is going to be a lot bigger of a story than I thought it was going to
Right.
be. And then people started watching it,
Mm-hmm.
which I could not believe. And people are like, we love the kid in the shark onesie. And it's like Sharky wasn't supposed to exist for more than 1 or 2 episodes.
And
But
now it's one
everyone
of the
was
most
like,
popular characters.
I think it is the most popular
Yeah.
character.
Uh-huh.
Everybody loves Sharky. Someone was like, were you okay if I get a Sharky tattoo? And I'm like, Pixar, it didn't happen.
Well, there's you. I remember you saying that there are people that are like making fan fiction, like
Yes.
some of which is very. I'm going to use the word romantic in nature.
Yes.
What is that like? You have these characters that people are like just writing full-fledged, you know,
It can be
interesting
really
stories.
fun.
Yeah.
It can be really cool. I love fan fiction. I've supported fan
Yeah.
fiction since I first learned what fan fiction was. And as a
Yeah.
creator, I think it's great that people want to engage that way with
Mhm.
it. Someone was like, can I write like smutty fan fiction about
Yeah.
you? And I was like, no.
You're like, no, that's a little bit
No,
different.
I'm a real person.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it makes me uncomfortable that you think about that. I'm not
Right.
that flexible, but I appreciate the thought. But it's like you do whatever you want with the characters, go for
Yeah.
it. So it's like I read a bunch of it, and like a bunch of it's really good. And it's like
Yeah.
I just kind of sign off where it's like this isn't my canon, so you
Mhm.
guys can interpret things the way you want. But
Right,
it just blows my mind because I remember thinking when I was a kid, I was like, I'd love to have something that someone writes fan fiction about my stuff one day, and I never thought it was going to happen. Now there's a
Uh-huh.
tag for it on AO3.
Yeah.
So it was like I can't, it's like if I think about it
It's a
too long,
thing
it's like I
now.
need to just like go lay down.
It's a thing. And like and now I know you said that you're working on like because you're a writer and you like to write things and you're working on a
Yeah.
comic book short. Can you talk about that? Like how did that come to be? When can people get it? What's it about? All of that.
So Grim is actually the artist who's been doing my merch and everything.
Mhm.
And he and I have been working on an actual Hell's Bells comic book series for a while. So we have a bunch of Hell's Bells shorts out, but he reached out to me a couple months ago and said, Penny Dreadful's doing for Pride Month, for LGBTQIA plus creators. Sorry, a boat's going by in the background.
I thought it was a guy walking up for a second. I was like, oh my God, what is happening?
No, if you see me do a weird dip, I'm looking at the dock. So I'm like, who's
Oh, you're
walking by?
fine.
But he was like, they're doing a contest. So write a script. It was a Victorian horror was the prompt. So we entered and we won. So we got to be in the anthology. And because we finished it so quickly ahead of everyone else, they're running it as its own special thing. And all the proceeds are going to the Trevor Project. So if you look up,
oh my God, yeah.
it's for Pride Month because Seth
Yeah.
is trans and I am bi. So
Mhm.
we were like really excited about it. So it's Void the Cat. And you can look it up, Penny Dreadful, and pre-order it and get a hard copy of it. And any of those
Oh my
proceeds are
gosh.
going to the Trevor Project.
That is amazing. And for all of you that are watching or listening right now that want more information about that, I'm going to include the link in the description of this. So all you have to do is click and all of the information will be there. That is so cool. Like that is so cool. Like are there any like other like future things that you want to do like eventually? Like I'll put it to you this way. If any of this ever becomes like a feature-length movie, I better have an invite to like the red carpet premiere. I want an invite. Like,
dude, I'll have you. You can be one of the souls that comes down. You can be one of the souls in paradise.
don't make promises to me because I will put on my acting hat in a heartbeat. I will make it happen.
Can you imagine how much fun it would be though? It's like, listen, even if we're a bunch of extras, to get a bunch of TikTok people to come and be like, listen, we could be demons in the background. It'll be great. We'll do sassy commentary. It'll be fun. Like I would just be like, I just want to be friends with everybody, but we can all be acting at the same time. It'll be so much fun. People have asked me like, oh, are you going to do this to Netflix or Hulu? And it's like, Netflix is kind of on the rocks, but it's like, I mean, if Hulu reached out to me and said, hey, let's talk, I wouldn't be mad about it,
right?
But I'd also have some very strict stipulations of like, this is what the series is about. I don't want any stupid love triangles. I don't want like cheating. And I don't,
Mhm.
it like things need to be critiqued. I mean, and they do Handmaid's Tale and stuff like that. So it's like,
Right.
I know that they're not going to flinch away from that.
Right, right,
But it's
right.
like the point of Hell's Bells is to talk about traumas that we might have to be ashamed of, to grow healthily, and to talk about things like critique institutions that should be critiqued. Like you should
Mhm.
always ask questions of things that
Yes.
have like huge amounts of power. So it's
Mhm.
like, as long as you stick with
Especially now.
this,
Especially
especially
now.
now,
Especially now.
especially
To say
now.
the least.
It's the only time I've gotten a flood of hate comments was when I did a Roe versus Wade episode.
It is so fascinating to me because I was talking to a creator friend of mine, and I had put up on my Instagram, my thoughts on
Mhm.
everything, and they're like, "Kai, aren't you afraid that you're going to lose followers?" I'm like,
I don't
"Bye,
care.
see ya, see you later." Like I'm like, I told them, I'm like, it's about more at this point. It's about more than follower count, and if your biggest concern
Yeah.
right now is follower count,
You're in
I
it for the wrong reasons.
yeah,
It's like I try not to make this like it's my job, it's my priority and everything,
Mhm.
but it's not my ultimate priority. It's like I'm here to be a decent human being.
Yes.
And if I have to say things that are going to upset some people about
Mhm.
basic bodily autonomy, it's
Mhm.
like my dad came up and was helping me with the boat and he was asking me about stuff. And I said, well, I'm getting a lot of hate comments right now because I just posted this thing. And I said, abortion rights, I put in the comments, abortion rights are human rights. If you're excited
Mhm.
about the decision yesterday, because it was like the day after, unfollow and block
Yes.
me. Like
Mhm.
I do not care. I don't
Yes.
want your follow and I'm not open to discourse about it. And my dad was like, well, that's a bit strong. I mean, what if you could persuade people? I'm like, if they're that excited
Yes.
about what's going on in the age of the internet
Mhm.
and the news and everything that's been going on, if they've been following me,
Mhm.
they should know that this is not, we have a fighter jet going over and someone standing. I am so sorry if you can
I
hear
can't
that
hear any of
through
it.
the head.
I can't hear any. You're
Awesome
good.
headphone.
You're good.
But I'm like, if you're excited about any of that, your time is past.
Yeah.
Like in the age of the internet, you have all this information available at your fingertips. And even if you exist in an echo chamber, you exist in the world. So you must have heard something to make you question it.
Mhm.
But if you refuse to, nothing I say is going to make any different.
Absolutely.
Especially if
Absolutely.
you
Your
already
mind is
view me
already
as a
made up.
second class citizen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your mind is already made up, and it's really it's just I don't even have words, and I kind of laugh sometimes because it's so ridiculous to me that this is even a topic of conversation right now with all the other
Yeah.
stuff that we could possibly be, concerned with right now. And so I always say to people, I have no shame saying this. Anybody that's listening or watching right now, y'all know where I stand, and I will continue to speak up about it. And I think that silence is just as bad as being against it. So I think
Yeah.
it's time for people to speak up, and that's
Yeah.
the whole point. But I guess my final question for you is this, and this is actually the perfect segue. And I'm glad we kind of got to talking about this. There 92% of my base are people that identify as female, right?
Mhm.
So it's 92% female and 8% male. So I often get a lot of women, that are listening to the podcast and following me and things like that. And I always, whenever I have somebody like you on, I always ask like a similar question, and because I often get a lot of DMs and emails from people, asking for advice, and like obviously I'm a dude, so like there's only so much I can like fully understand about women, and I'm not going to sit here and try to even mansplain anything to anybody, right? So whenever I have somebody like you on, I always ask a similar question, and that question is this: if there's a woman out there that's listening, or anybody that identifies, as a woman or female, or anybody really, honestly, that might be in a position right now that they are struggling, or they're confused, they're scared, they're not sure where to take their life right now. There's just a genuine fear that they have for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of the stuff going on in the world, and maybe it's just stuff going on in their personal life, whatever it may be. If
Mhm.
they were listening right now and you can give them any words of encouragement, what would those words be?
Hmm. Something that I realized when I was doing all my deconstructing and I'd lost pretty much everything in my life. My community was gone. My friends were gone. I had no real direction in my life. was that I just wanted to sit at home and like not think about it. And what has carried me through has been to just keep making decisions. You have to keep making some kind of decision, even if it's what you're having for dinner. Should you get out of bed and shower? Should you not? You have to keep making decisions, good, bad, or otherwise. It might be the wrong decision, but you made it a decision, and you have to trust yourself. You have made it this far. You've made it through 100% of your worst days. Trust yourself to know that you can handle the outcome, because I promise you, you are stronger than you think. You are smarter than you think, and you can figure this out and you can handle it. It might not be comfortable. You might not wanna, and you might end up like me, laying on a bathroom floor, not sure if you're gonna even wake up from that decision, but you will. You have to keep making decisions, and they're your own. So, I mean, that comes with a strong sense of self, and that can be really scary to get our know ourselves, but trust yourself and keep making decisions, because I promise you that is your greatest superpower.
Absolutely. You are such a fantastic person. Like honestly, and I'm so happy you like we're officially friends now. Like there's no takesy
We are.
backsies. It's like there's no takesy backsies. Like legit, I'm so happy that like we got to sit and chat, and that and everything like worked out timing wise, you know. 'Cause like I said, it like I know that you know you're super busy, and like it means a lot to not just me, but definitely to all the vibers out there that, you know, were like, I want you to go talk to her. I'm like, okay, fine. And all of that. So honestly, thank you so much for sitting and chat with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's do it again. I'm down.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. And like I said, you're stuck with me now. So like there's no takesy backsies. Sorry.
Oh,
I might get a boat myself. Who knows?
Yeah, come cruise with me. It'll be great.
That's a I can't
Bring your girlfriend, because I want to meet her.
She won't even like if I even remotely mention your name. She's like, okay, when are we going? We're going now. We're going right now. All right, let's go right now.
I've got Meclizine, you know, seasickness meds, and I've got life jackets, like and wine, if that's what you're into. We're here. We've got it.
So I'll bring my Jameson, and then we're set.
Oh, I'll watch her like thing in the night when she's like, I have my glass of wine and I'm in my mirror. I'm like, all right, it's time for truth. It's time for tea. I want it. Like, let me get my stuff. It'll be fun.
Yeah. She's great, because she's one of the, like, honestly, we were talking about genuine people. Like the way that she is in her TikToks, like that is how she is in real life. Like she is just she's very eloquent. She's very well spoken, and she's hot.
Yeah,
my girlfriend's
hot. I won't disagree with you on a single. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
She is amazing, and I'm the luckiest guy on this planet. I love it. If you're listening, babe, I love you.
I love you too. It's great.
Exactly. There we go. This was gonna happen. She's gonna be like, hi, so like, can we all be on the podcast together? This was gonna happen. She's gonna use me to hang out with you.
That would be the most chaotic conversation.
I love. She would love. I know she would love that. So we'll make that happen. JC, then thank you so much, honestly, for sitting and chatting with me. And if anybody that was listening or watching right now, they're like, hey, I like that person. I want to hear more, read more about that person. All of her links I'm going to put in the description of this podcast. Click away, go follow, go buy stuff. Go support this wonderful woman over here, because she is fantastic and she's my friend. So like I don't hang out with uncool people. I don't hang out with uncool people. So like you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck with us now. But yeah, thank you for hanging out. Vibers, always remember, if there's a content creator out there that you are a fan of that you want me to go speak with, just let me know and I will reach out, and I will slide into their DMs, much like I did with you, and hopefully they get back to me. Most of the time they do, and I'm glad that you did, honestly. Thank you, JC, for sitting down with me. Everybody else, thank you so much for listening and for watching. As always, God bless and good vibes. Bye.
Bye.